What's going on, guys? It's the Bigs Podcast, episode number 118. And today we're going to talk about all of the injured players that have been rostered and drafted here in the Bigs. The man who has made this list and set us on course for this podcast, coming to us from Denver, Colorado, Jason Ashby. Jason, you put a lot of work into this one, my friend. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, it was really interesting to see because I I feel like there's been a lot of injuries just since opening day, let alone since draft day, that has kind of taken the league, turned the league upside down a little bit. So it always happens, but I feel like this year more than ever, it's a bit wild. So I'm interested and excited to break it down and get into it with you guys.
Yeah, you shared with us the post that was made. I don't recall who it was, but it was 166 guys have hit the IL before the opening day. Did I read that right?
Yeah. So that was from Joel Sherman. And yeah, it was 166 players began the season on the IL. 132 of them, almost 80% are pitchers.
Mm. That is certainly rough, and it shows. I mean, we've got a ton of dudes just sitting on everybody's IL. Most of them are pitchers. One
Mhm.
of them happens to sit on our other co-host team tonight. Joining us from Bringin the Heat podcast, his name is Cody Piatt, and he is the 16th man, the newest member of the Bigs. Cody, thanks so much for being here with us, man.
Man, guys, thank you for having me. This is really cool. I'm a little nervous sitting here, a little giddy. This is awesome though. It's kind of like behind the scenes. Like I always hop on, listen to the episode, and I got to hear the kickoff from Joe, and it's like,
Mhm.
holy moly. And now I get to listen to the episode before everybody else gets to. So that's exciting. No, thank you guys for having me. I am pumped to be here.
Absolutely. We are pumped to have you, my friend. Let's get this thing underway, Jason. What do you got for us to start off the evening?
All right, so I'm going in order of owner. So starting off with Adam. So I looked through Adam's team, and in terms of players that he's either drafted or currently owns, there are six players who are either on the IL or day to day that have touched his roster. And two of them he didn't draft. So Robbie Ray and Jeffrey Springs sit on his IL spot. He added those guys off free agency. Both those guys are on the 60-day IL. They're going to be gone for at least until May or June. But he drafted Orion Kirkering, who is possibly going to be, a contender for a closer spot in Philadelphia. He hit the IL with a forearm issue. He was drafted in the 19th round, so not a huge bust there yet, but it's be interesting to see when or if he can come back. There's really been no update since opening day,
Mhm.
so we don't know. The big one is so Devin Williams, he grabbed off of free agency after Josh Haber drafted him in the 17th round and then dropped him. So Devin Williams now sits on Adams' IL spot. The other one to look out for right now, Bo Bichette is day to day. He's missed the last two games with neck spasms. That could be a big red flag if something happens to that guy.
Yeah, he's filling in with Ahmed Rosario right now for Bo Bichette, and that could be an absolute crippler to the team. Cody, which one of these pitchers you think he's going to see first? Devin Williams, Robbie Ray, or Jeffrey Springs? Each one of these three looks like a long absence is coming.
Man, that's a great question. It's a toss up, to be honest with you. To be honest, here's my question with Devin Williams. Is he going to walk back into a job? They have a great setup guy in Piamps who could step into a closer role, and then Uribe. I know he gave up a hitter, and I hate to be coming at your Mets right now, guys, but Uribe came in, did his thing, got a couple of saves so far. So is it like a guarantee if these guys spin it the first half of the year that he'll come back? I know Milwaukee's already shown they're not going to throw a ton of money at a closer, else they would have signed Hader. So
Mhm.
are they going to try and move this guy before he hits free agency? That is a great question. I would say Springs might be back first of the two starters, though. So that's very exciting. And any Tampa Bay starter, I mean, you want to look at for a grab for sure.
Yeah, these guys are not going to be quick and back in April. This is a long-term absence for at least three of these guys. Kirkering is the interesting one. I'm excited to see what he's capable of, but I don't know if you want to just hold on to this guy with a forearm strain. That's usually a precursor to more terrible things that could happen. Nice play by Brett Beatty. Again, Bichette is the big one here, and if he misses extended period of time, this is going to hurt this team really badly, Jason.
Yeah. Because like you said, Rosario is the only other shortstop on this roster. So I don't really know what's out there on free agency. Probably not a whole lot. Certainly nothing to replace Bichette with. So a trade may have to happen if Bichette is forced to miss some extended time.
Yep. Who's your next team here, buddy? Who do you got up next?
All right. Ari sits with one person on the IL, and that would be Sonny Gray, who he drafted in the 7th round. But he is starting a rehab assignment on Wednesday, so assuming that goes well, he should be back, relatively short order. So 7th round pick for that guy. He was somebody we knew that was going to be out to start the year, but it seems like it won't be, too terrible.
Yeah, bumping uglies with only one guy on the IL, and that is Sonny Gray. My question only for this team would be, who are we going to drop when this guy becomes activated, Cody? Are we talking to Andrew Abbott? Are we talking to Tyler Wells? Or are we talking he's just going to dump a bullpen piece?
That is a great question, man. I would say, I don't know, Wells got roughed up against a pretty tough Angels lineup past Mike Trout. There's not a lot to really get excited about. It was Easter, so Angels probably need to win on Easter. But the thing too, I mean, with these bullpens here, and I apologize, I'm trying to find his team. What is the name of his team?
Bumping Uglies.
Got it. Here we go. Scrolling down. I would probably draw. I mean, AJ Puck. It depends on if you're a believer. I certainly am. He got roughed up, but yeah, that's a great question. None of these guys that you would be dropping would be a Sonny Gray. They're not better than him, but maybe they could. You could flip these pieces for something. Maybe that's something he explores. But yeah.
There's something else to be said that he's also carrying JD Martinez on this team, so he's going to have to move and drop an outfielder. Ari is known to carry a really large bench and basically run 2 offensive teams at a time in order to stack up as many counting stats as he can. But the pitching is always a question here. And again, this is going to be really interesting to see what Sonny Gray can give him in May and beyond. Yeah. Jason, what do we got next?
Our esteemed commissioner, Ben Nisman. So he's got a couple of interesting ones. Taijuan Walker hit the IL just after draft day with a shoulder issue. He threw a bullpen session on Saturday, so seems like he's starting to ramp up. But there's really no time frame for him. I doubt that the Phillies are going to rush him too much. And then obviously he added Dustin May after the draft, who is also going to be out for a while. He did draft Randall Grichuk and then dropped him. He's currently on the IL, but he is coming back probably by this weekend. He should be back in the Diamondbacks lineup. But yeah, I think Taijuan Walker is kind of the interesting one. He also has not an injury related, but he has Mike Clevenger in the NA spot, who did just today re-sign with the White Sox. So it'd be interesting to see how he adds him into his rotation.
Yeah, if you include all of the starters here that are on the IL and on the NA area for Ben, it doesn't look like he has a great rotation to start with, but when you add Dustin May and you add Mike Clevenger, you add Taijuan Walker, all of a sudden this is a pretty deep rotation, albeit being a bunch of guys from, I would call it the glom of middle class starting pitching. Yeah. But this is Ben's team, and this is how he always runs it: a huge bullpen and 5 quality starters you can get.
Yeah. Cody, who I like.
Who do you like there?
Jack Flaherty, man, looked really good. I think he went 6 innings, quality starts, shutout, 7 Ks. I think he took him in 17th round. So you're looking at a guy. As a potential ace to grab there. That's a pretty great pickup. Sorry to interrupt, bud.
Yeah. No, I'm all for it. It was one of those, especially with Jack Flaherty. I think we're always following the 2019 second half that he had that was just unreal. I think you're always going to be chasing that. I don't think he's ever going to put something like that up. But that's not to say that he can't be very good in this really good pitcher's ballpark in Comerica against a not all that great AL Central. He's going to pitch against some pretty bad teams a lot of the time. So I certainly love Jack Flaherty as the ace of this staff.
And
Dustin
by the
May
way,
coming back mid-season will be great. What's up?
his next start is tentatively scheduled for Oakland. Like that's a dream matchup for any pitcher. So like if he can follow up what he just did in Chicago with another great start in Oakland, you'll take that.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. And there's no reason to believe that he can't. And he'll be off to
Yeah.
a really fire start. Mike Clevenger coming back to Chicago is the interesting one. Would you even? Here's my question to you, Cody. With Mike Clevenger, if you were guaranteed 140 innings of this guy in the South Side of Chicago on that terrible Double-A team, would you even take it?
I don't think I would. It's against my religion to draft anybody that's not named Lou Bob off the White Sox, man. This just I don't know if you guys watched any White Sox baseball on the opening weekend. I know we've all watched a lot of ball. I mean, Garrett Crochet looked unbelievable, but past that, not a lot to get excited about, especially on the offensive side of the ball.
No. And it won't be long before Eloy Jimenez is either off this team either by injury or trade. So it's not going to.
We'll talk about him later.
Oh, we will we? Well, what are we going to talk about next?
All right. Next, we have Vlad Better, that Bobby Russo. He currently sits with two guys on the injured list. Both of them were drafted. Vaughn Grissom in the 25th round, TJ Friedel in the 11th round. Neither one of them seemed all that close. Friedel played catch on Saturday. No, he didn't. That was somebody else. There's no updates that I've seen on Friedel or Grissom. So yeah, there could be kind of an extended absence for these guys.
Yeah, I know Vaughn Grissom was a lower body injury, and TJ Friedel was a fractured hand, I think, from being
wrist.
Yeah, wrist. Okay, yeah. So these guys are going to be out for a while. Interesting that they're both on the offensive side, and Grissom probably going to be second base for your Boston Red Sox. How excited are you for this guy, Cody?
I'm excited to see him. When the deal went down, felt like a good move for both sides. As hard as it was to see Sale go, and I mean, in 2018, he was stuff of legends for my Red Sox. But yeah, it just made sense. You forget how young this guy is because you've heard about him in the Brave system for so long. 23, supposed to come back late May, so there's something to get. Or no, rather late April potentially from the hamstring injury. So hopefully he can be something. He's always been a stick first guy. And so put on second base, lower tier defense that'll play, and let's see what he can do for us.
How did you, living in Nashville, Tennessee, become a Boston Red Sox fan?
I knew this one was coming. Okay, here's the story. I was like 5 or 6, and when I got into sports, it was actually football, and it was the New England Patriots because America's team. I thought, oh my gosh, okay, there's the American flag. So that was like 2001, 2002. They had just won a Super Bowl. Okay. And then they went on to win 2 more Super Bowls. Then you start looking around at Boston sports teams, Celtics, Bruins, Red Sox. I mean, it's all the stuff. It's just good historic franchises. And I just love baseball. And so when I found, 162 game season, man, I was hooked. And so I'm like a bandwagon fan, but it's been like 21 years. So, it's a great question, though. And every once in a while, I run into people from Boston. They're like, where'd you grow up? And I'm like, North Carolina, nowhere near Boston. But, hey, we had some success. I'm afraid we might be on the downslope right now, boys. But, it's about the love for that team and staying in it. You know what I mean?
Toughest divisions in all of baseball.
Dude, it's looking rough out there. Now, I will say, these top 4 games against maybe a subpar Seattle offense. We might get into it later. I don't know. But the pitching staff looked good, and that was my number one qualm with my Red Sox. So not to get too far off track, but we'll see, guys. We'll see.
We'll see.
We shall see. All right, Jason, what do you have next for us?
Well, it is one of our co-hosts, and that would be you, Cody. You, sir. In the 26th round, you drafted the good old Clayton Kershaw. He's going to be, out for half a year, but at the 26th round, who cares? And he's just going to sit there for you. The other one that is possibly of interest for you is Junior Caminero, who left yesterday's game in AAA with a quad injury. So that could derail any kind of soon to be promotion for this kid. So something to look out for there.
Yeah, for sure. Caminero, man, he's got a lot of upside, and so we'll see what happens there. I haven't seen any kind of prognosis. I'm sure we'll talk about him because he's definitely rostered. But Royce Lewis went out with a quad, and I think they haven't thrown a number out there. But as far as I know, it's like 1 to 2 months. Ah, sweet guy. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay, Jason. You know, he's gonna be good the back half of the year for you, buddy. But so we'll see with Caminero. You are 100% correct. It could throw a wrench into things. And then Clayton Kershaw is like the dad of the squad. You know, if this squad ever gets feeling down, Kershaw is just going to take care of us from the sidelines, and then we'll see what he can do. You know, first ballot Hall of Famer when he comes back. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
Well, Kershaw, you know, the last, I'd say 5 years or so, 2020 notwithstanding, he's thrown what, like 120 to 125 innings, really good ball whenever he's healthy.
Yeah.
If you can get 100 innings out of whatever he's going to give you this year, I think it's going to be the exact same type of thing. An ERA right around 3, decent strikeout rates, you know, on a winning ball club, probably the best ball club in baseball. The other interesting player that I want to bring up here is Jordan Montgomery as well, because you drafted him and then picked up Junior Caminero before Jordan Montgomery signed. Was there any trepidation about Jordan Montgomery like holding out and ending up like Dallas Keuchel that one year?
A little bit, and especially when we came to opening weekend, he hadn't signed yet. I was like, son of a gun, I'm gonna have to make a decision here. But to be honest, being new to this league, I feel like it's just a moment to kind of sit and watch, and that's why I've talked to a couple of gentlemen about trades and just haven't been able to pull the trigger because I don't know like the inner workings of this league yet, like what makes it tick. And the bullpen makes it stand alone from any other fantasy league I've ever been a part in, and so it's trying to iron out what the importance of grabbing these relievers early in the draft, this, that, and the other. Who do I need to trade? I mean, obviously, trade value is different when you value the bullpen so much. You know, we saw Griffin Jacks go for a guy like Nathan Eovaldi, and not that I think it's a landslide in a typical roto league, but for this league, it made a lot more sense. And so I'm trying to be patient, especially in week one, just because nobody knows what we have yet. And I think you could get into some trouble letting go of somebody too soon. But you are correct. When Jordan Montgomery fell the right amount in the draft that I felt comfortable taking him. But you guys are right. I was like, son of a gun, if this guy doesn't sign with the Savannah Bananas. I need something. I need some statistics from this guy. So we'll see. I think he's supposed to make his start in a couple of weeks. He's doing like rehab right now, or the minor league ramp up. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah.
Yeah, it looks like he made a AAA start on Sunday. Don't know how that. Oh, it looks like he threw 3 innings of a simulated game on Monday back in the at the spring training facility. So Sunday will be his first warm-up start. Don't know how many of those he's going to need in order to get ready. But by the time you get him, that guy, Aaron Nola, Mitch Keller, add in Michael Grove and Michael Waka, and you've got yourself a nice little group here, Cody.
Reagans.
Let me shout out my boy Cole Reagans, because I know there was some questions about it on the pre-draft show, which I totally respect. But I was like, this guy's got some heat, okay? And so we'll see. Obviously, he plays for a pretty tough roster in Kansas City Royals, and so we'll see the win potential there. But yeah, he's somebody to get excited about too. I don't know. This rotation is not a finished product. I think you can say that for all 15 other teams in this league.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
All right, where are we going next, Jason?
All right, hold me close, Otani dancer. That would be Frank Bucco. And this might be one of the most interesting ones of the entire league, I think, because he just lost Justin Steele to that hamstring injury. He's gonna be out for at least a month. And we thought he was gonna be out when he took a comebacker off the kneecap earlier in spring training, and he was no, we're good. I'm gonna play pitch opening day, and he did, and he got hurt anyway. So that sucks. He did draft Justin Steele in the 5th round, so hopefully this guy can make a pretty quick recovery and come back soon for him. He also has Cody Senga, who he nabbed in the 14th round. He's gonna be out for at least another month or two. But if you guys can come back, that makes this rotation really, really scary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and especially when you add in Charlie Morton. He had scooped up Casey Mize off of the free agent list. Jesus Luzardo is now his de facto ace. The the things that I see here, I mean, Kodai Senga and Justin Steele, that hurts, but they're going to be back. If you're saying they're only a month each, then we're talking sometime in May that they're going to come back. And that really makes things more interesting if Frank can stay patient and wait on these guys to come back for him. We do know that Frank is the trade monster here in the league, and already made one with you, Jason, to pick up Jose Barrios after sending out who did he send out for Ryan Presley?
Oh, oh God.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Bryce Miller. That's it. It was Bryce
Miller
Miller.
and Anthony Volpe.
That's right. Bryce Miller and Anthony Volpe to go get Jackson Holiday and Ryan Presley to shore up his bullpen. That bullpen looks pretty nasty, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Hader, Sir Anthony, Ian Hamilton, Ryan Presley, Tyler Matzik, and Pierce Johnson. Jason, I know you like some Jordan Hicks. What do you think about that guy in San Francisco this year?
I tried a few different variations of our trade to get Hicks. We couldn't get it to work, but yes, he looked really good in his first start. There's a lot to like there, I think. I'm interested to see how Louis Hills does tonight in Arizona for the Yankees. That'll be a big key. If he's a part of this rotation, that's another like scary piece. Yeah, there's some interesting depth in here. And especially, again, once Steele and Senga come back.
I would be remiss also if I didn't mention that John Brevian might be the closer on the south side of Chicago, but they got to win a baseball game in order for them to figure out who that's going to be.
That's a true statement.
Jason, where are we to next?
All right, let's go to our reigning and defending Bigs champion, Mike Haber.
To life, L'Chaim.
Yes. He drafted Max Scherzer knowing that guy was going to be out for a while, but he also drafted Eduardo Rodriguez and lost him just after the draft to a shoulder issue. Drafted him in the 13th round. They're saying he could throw off a mound sometime this week, so looks like maybe he's starting to ramp up a little bit. But you got to be sure that they're going to be careful with this guy after signing him to a big contract. So. Again, no, I'm not seeing any real time frame for him. Maybe sometime in, late April or mid-May. But again, I think they're going to be pretty careful with him.
This is a scary looking rotation when everything's healthy, Cody.
It certainly is. Yeah, I'm getting nervous over here looking through these teams.
This is a nasty looking rotation.
Yeah,
Castillo, Scherzer, Bieber, Eduardo, Nate Eovaldi. Yeah. And then whatever you get from John Gray and Cutter Crawford. Cutter Crawford's an interesting one. Being a Boston fan, how do you like that kid?
Well, you know what? You really got to reset your mind, right? Because I've seen some pretty nasty starts of this guy, not in a good way. I should have used a different word. Last night against Seattle, or 2 nights ago, rather, he looked really good. So I think he had 8 or 10 Ks. I don't know, man. It's hard to tell if it's the Boston pitching or Seattle just hadn't woken up yet on the offensive side of things. But yeah, man, he could be something. He could be something without a doubt. There's a lot of things to like about this rotation. Max Scherzer is looking to come back in May. And everything I'd read in the preseason prior to drafts was like June, July. And so that's a big difference. Shane Bieber, Justin Bieber's dad, looked really good against, of course, it was Oakland, so AA baseball team. But this is you guys ripped it up on the drafts, man. This is a solid team.
Yeah, no doubt. And this is the reigning defending champion right now. So this is the guy that everybody's going to be gunning for. Offensively, he looks pretty strong as well. So long as Aaron Judge can stay healthy this year, it'll be a team to reckon with.
No doubt.
I don't think there's a reason why he can't, at least vie for a back-to-back championship.
Yeah, he'll be there. He will be competing for this title. He'll be making a playoff push again, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Where do we go next?
All right. Last year's Cinderella story, Henry Collins, wit and Schmidticisms. Henry here, he has got 3 guys, 2 guys on the IL in Nathaniel Lowe and Justin Verlander. Again, Verlander, we knew Lowe got hurt, I think, towards the end of spring training with an oblique issue. He's going to be out for probably a little bit. And then now Max Kepler, he fouled the ball off of his leg during opening day, and he hasn't played since. So I don't know. They're kind of sending him for X-rays. Everything's negative, but it's still kind of up in the air for him. So that's something to look out for, maybe too.
Look at this rotation too: Freddie Peralta, Zach Gallen, Zach Eflin, Clark Schmidt, and Justin Verlander when everybody's healthy.
Mm.
That's a hell of a five.
No
The
kidding.
Nathaniel Lowe thing is interesting, though. I find it really interesting because he also has Nolan Shanuel on the team as the backup first baseman to Pete Alonso. But when Lowe's healthy, where is he going to play? You're not playing him over Pete Alonso, are you, Cody?
I don't think so. I mean, I guess you use him in the util spot, but then, what are you doing with Nolan? It sounds like a textbook trade piece to me. And, just try and attack like maybe a weakness on this squad. But man, between the rotation and this offensive side as well, pretty dang solid. Yeah, I'm with you. I don't know. Pete, I love Pete Alonso. Need to see him hit some baseballs, guys. I know no one needs to tell you guys more than me right now. But yeah.
As I'm watching this terrible no score ball game.
Is it still 0-0? Yeah.
Still nothing in the eighth, dude.
Yeah.
Nothing in the eighth. Baez is at the plate, and he is going to. I was going to say he's going to strike out, but he swung for the moon and hit an infield single. Congratulations, Javi Baez.
Safe bet that he'll strike out, though. Safe bet he'll strike out.
He already did twice today, so.
Yeah.
Now Verlander, he said he's coming back in April, right?
He threw was it today, actually? Earlier today, he threw a 3-inning simulated game. So they haven't outlined next steps yet that I've seen, but a rehab start's got to be, coming up pretty soon, I would think. So it's possible we could see him towards the end of April.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to the next team. Who you got?
That would be this guy, Salvador. And yeah, so I drafted Lars Nootbaar and Matt Brash, knowing that both of those guys were probably going to start the year on the IL, although they had, they were one of the, everybody was waiting until opening day to put these guys on the IL. And so there was part of me that was like, okay, are they really going to, maybe one of them won't go on the IL. Maybe they've recovered. But no, they're on the IL. And then, of course, I did lose Royce Lewis on opening day. It was the highs and the lows you can possibly get. The guy hits a home run in his first at bat of the season, and then his next plate appearance, he singles, gets to third, and strains his quad, and he's gonna be out for at least a month. We know this, and I knew it. In the back of my mind, I knew it because this guy is made of glass. He's hurt all the time, but the talent was just too tantalizing not to take in the 5th round.
Oh.
That's true.
Rough. It's rough. It's rough when you get that kind of shot in the leg, literally.
Yeah.
That early in the season. Now, my question to you is how long does Matt Brash stay on this roster with these IL spots starting to creep up on you? If you catch another one here, is he the guy that you're going to cut, or are you going to have to sort of navigate with 4 on your team?
I'm going to try and navigate as much as I can. Nootbaar is coming back soon. He's I think he's starting he's about to start a rehab assignment. So Nootbaar should be back maybe this weekend, maybe early next week. So I feel like right now I can ride it as it is. And Brash is throwing sliders in the bullpen, so they're gonna bring him along a little bit slower, but I like him so much. I'm gonna try and ride him out as much as I can. I did make this trade with Frank, and because I needed a third base backup. Luis Rengifo is not playing as much as I thought he was going to play so far. So that kind of dinged that because he's my backup third baseman right now. So I brought back Michael Busch to fill that hole. Christopher Morel is starting to play some third base, so maybe he gains that eligibility, but he's making errors every time he plays there. So I don't know how much more the Cubs are gonna, be willing to play him there when they have Nick Madrigal who can, pick it at third base. So we'll see. Third base is gonna be kind of a weird spot for me this year, I think.
I think the other interesting thing, and Cody, maybe you can back me up on this, the Byron Buxton play between Mike Trout, Byron Buxton, and one of either Evan Carter or Brendan Donovan. You can't play all 4 of them. You can only
Yeah.
play 3 at a time. So, Cody, who would you be benching out of that group most days? I think it's Brendan Donovan for the versatility.
Yeah.
But that guy's a good player too.
Yeah, he's solid, but I think if they're healthy, I mean, listen, Buck Daddy now, okay, and I know he'll do this thing where he plays 2 games and sits 1 out, but he comes into spring, he says, I'm healthy, I'm well. I think he stole a base the other day. He tore it up in spring training, so he's going to get center field eligibility. Makes me nervous. I owned him on a lot of teams because you could pick him past 200 ADP. So I think he's going to be solid. You can put him in center field. Well, I guess you got Mike Trout there, dude. It's kind of a great problem to have. I'm not going to lie to you, but yeah, I think you're spot on, man. It'd be Brendan Donovan for me. But it's nice because on the short days, you can put him almost anywhere. So he's a helpful player to have as well.
No doubt, Jason. You've got an embarrassment of riches and some versatility on this team that's going to be very nice once everybody's healthy again.
Absolutely. Yep.
All right, what do you got next?
All right, good old friend Jay Ferraro, New Haven Ravens. So Jay is interesting. So he drafted Brian Wu in the 14th round, and this guy goes down with an elbow injury. Not seeing many updates on him yet. Again, actually, let's see. They just put an update out. He did begin a throwing program today. So hopefully he can come back, not too terribly long. But again, I think there's another guy that, they're going to be careful with. This is a young guy in the middle of the rotation. They're going to want to be careful with him. So I wouldn't expect a real speedy return, but hopefully it's not, we're not lingering out into the summertime. And then he also brought in Kyle Bradish off free agency. He wasn't even drafted. Kyle Bradish wasn't drafted. And he went ahead and just picked him up and plopped him right there in his IL spot.
Cody, what do you think of this kid, Kyle Bradish? Last year, he had a really nasty season, a 280-something ERA, over 180 innings. He was really, really good. But is that real, or is that something that we're going to see, regression from this year?
Yeah, dude, he had the best second half in baseball, starting pitching wise, and I was super excited to draft him early. And then he was one of the first guys I think I saw go down. He went down with Gunnar, and so it was like double daggers for the birds. But obviously Gunnar's back and crushing it. Dude, we'll see with Bradish. I think the prognosis is better than what they were originally saying. UCL sprain, it's a tear, but it's like what level tear, and they were very mum's the word on what exactly we're looking at. So it's gonna be interesting to see. He had actually talked to me. We've been chatting back and forth. Super sweet guy. I mean, my gosh, but we were chatting back and forth, and he said I just couldn't leave him out there on waivers. Somebody else grab him when I have an open IL spot. And I'm dead serious. I was looking at picking him up and it's like, okay, well, do I use an ad on this now? Or I was planning on waiting until the end of the week. So it was a great call by him to do it. One note I wanted to say on our main man, Brian Wu, I think depending on how Emerson Hancock does tonight in his start versus the Guardians, I think that's going to say a lot whether they, rush him or we're going to have to, if he does well, then maybe they can take their time. But if it doesn't look great, they might pull some strings.
I just in my head are seeing 6 weeks on this kid. Like, you don't want to rush this kid's elbow. You don't want to mess with anything. You don't want to make it worse by pushing him too hard. So yeah, shut him down for a little bit. Begin the throwing program now, and give him 3 or 4 rehab starts to warm up and be that piece that they bring in once they know what they have in the rotation before anything else breaks down on them. Just bring this kid along slowly. And let Emerson Hancock run a little bit. Let him cook a little bit. See what he can do at the major league level. He's a fine prospect and has been for a few years now. Jason, where do we go from here?
Another quick note, real quick on Jay, because this popped up just tonight. Jason Hayward was scratched with back stiffness. They're meeting with a doctor. If he's out, Jung Ho Lee becomes the center fielder on this team because that's it. Once he gains that eligibility, so that's something to look out for also on Jay Ferraro's team.
No doubt. That's a scary situation to have a guy as your only center fielder now having this nagging injury because he's a little bit of an older player.
Yep.
Got to hope Jung Ho Lee gets that eligibility quickly to mitigate that issue.
Absolutely.
All right, where to?
Let's go over to Yogi, to Jimmy Dunlap, who just
2022
lost
champion.
also an opening day injury. Sean Murphy, another soft tissue, an oblique injury. He went down on opening day, and it could be a minute for him as well. It was a grade 1, so it's the best possible news. Hopefully he's back. Maybe he's back by the end of the month. If all goes right. But right now, and it's funny because, and I said this to Josh Haber too. I could not believe I don't know what I was missing, but Alejandro Kirk was not drafted in the bigs this year, and he was sitting out there, and so finally Jimmy picked him up to replace Sean Murphy, and I mean I know the guy went 0 for 2 today. He's 0 for 2 right now, but like. I love Alejandro Kirk, so I think this is almost an upgrade to me.
Yeah, good player. I don't think he's an upgrade from Murphy. I think I would have Murphy a little bit higher in my rankings, but at the end of the day, you could certainly see a world where Murphy misses 6, 8, 10 weeks with this possible injury, and Kirk just runs away with this catcher job.
Yeah.
Could be a trade piece mid-season that he throws into a bigger deal, but.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm totally down for that. The other one he has here is Robert Stevenson. I'm not really sure. Again, he's a relief pitcher. I'm not exactly sure how much leash he has on the rosters unless if another injury comes up. And he's got some questionable dudes, guys like Carlos Rodon. And, like that guy alone screams at me like you need to keep an IL spot at least in the back of your mind for that guy.
Yeah. Stevenson is he's kind of like on the mend here. He threw a bullpen. He's supposed to throw a bullpen session today. So he could start ramping up and be back, relatively soon. And when he's back, say what you will about the Angels. I mean, I guess if you're excited about John Brebbia being the White Sox closer, this guy could be the Angels closer before it's all said and done. So there is something here with Stevenson's, if you can hang on to him for, another few weeks, because the rest of this bullpen, there's not a whole lot of saves here in this bullpen. So if you can scratch out a save or two a week from Stevenson, that at least gives you something.
Yeah, I don't see a whole lot of saves in this roster with Meza, Rogers, Jimenez, and Rayleigh leading the charge in there. It's not really going to work. But there again, maybe that's the opportunity he sees later on this year to go get a closer to shore up that saves category. I'm not entirely sure. But for what it's worth, this rotation also is looking pretty nasty, Cody. Pablo, Cease, Sale, Rodon, and Dean Kramer.
Yeah. A lot to like, man. A lot to like. Rondon, listen, maybe the line didn't look too good, but he's throwing that new slider, and the velo was where it needed to be. So I benched him in a lot of leagues just because it's Houston, and I went the other way with Javier. I had both of them on 2 different teams, and so in all 4 spots, I put him on the bench because I'm just like I don't know what I'm looking at here. So that's week 1 for you. You want to try and figure out what you have, but. I'm with you, man, and I'm buying the bounce back. There's no world where he is as bad as he was. We'll knock on some wood, but no world he's as bad as he was last year. He was awful, and he's got it in there, man. The prior 3 years, he was a top 3 SP in fantasy baseball, and you could draft him past pick 200. So, I love it for this roster right here we're looking at, and we'll see what can Chris Sale do. He looked pretty solid as well. So, I mean, obviously. Plus win potential with the Atlanta Braves. A lot to like here.
The one thing he did miss today, he missed out on getting Kerry Carpenter out of that lineup and putting in somebody else like a Michael Conforto or somebody in left field. And doesn't appear to have a backup first baseman for Rhys Hoskins for whatever that's worth.
Billy, maybe? Cody Bellinger?
Oh, I guess, yeah, you're right. Yeah. That could have been the play. Yeah, that could have been the play today.
Yeah,
it's rough day for him.
Yeah. Must be nice to have Bellinger on the bench, though. You know what I'm saying?
Right. All right, where to next, Jason?
Let's talk about the big Stroman on Campusano.
Yeah, let's talk about this team, shall we?
So we know about Garrett Cole. We know about Walker Buehler. Walker Buehler in the 8th round. I think that's going to end up being a steal if you can get 140 innings out of him because he's on the mend. He's coming back soon. The key one was Brusar Gratterall got hurt. I believe that was after the draft. He is throwing off a mound. He's supposed to throw a mound session tomorrow on Tuesday. So we'll see. But like they're also saying like it could be a minute until he's back. So it'd be interesting to see how long you can hang on to him.
I'm fortunate enough that I'm facing Ari here in the first week, and it's the extended week, so I don't have to fight for relief appearances because Ari's not really carrying a bullpen. He never does. He's got a couple of closers. He's probably going to compete with me in saves, but as far as relief appearances are concerned, I'm probably going to run away with that category. And I won't have to get rid of Bruce Gratterall to try to fill in there where I'm missing. He's going to stick around. He's going to be the setup guy for Evan Phillips, and I've got Evan Phillips on the team. I got Joe Kelly on the team, and I'm hoping to get another Dodger reliever at some point this season. Hint, hint. So I'm looking around. I'm looking around to continue to shore up this bullpen, but not lose my mind over it and not lose Bruce Gratterall. I drafted him for a reason. Bueller, I love it. I love how late he went, and I love that I got Garrett Cole even later. 8th and 10th round respectively for my 2 and 3 starters. By the time summer comes, nobody is going to touch me with Framber Valdez, Garrett Cole, Walker Bueller as my top 3.
Yeah, that's just disgusting.
Yeah.
It's a long season, boys. Play the long game, not the short game.
That's it. That's right. Don't win championships in week 1. No way.
No, that's it. And you don't win them in the draft room either.
That's it.
I mean, you can win them in the draft room. You just have to hold on to everybody all year.
You can certainly lose them. You can certainly lose them in the draft room.
Doubt.
Yes.
No doubt. No doubt. All right, who we got next?
All right, another interesting one. The big Winkowski, Josh Haber. Boy, poor guy, right? He thinks he's on top of the world drafting Joan Duran and Paul Sewald, and like back-to-back days they both go down with oblique injuries. Rough start to the season. Plus he also brought in 23rd round drafted Braxton Garrett, but Duran was in the 4th round. Sewald was in the 7th round. Neither one of them seemed like they're anywhere close to coming back. I don't think they're playing catch yet, let alone doing it's all rest for them right now. So it's gonna be a minute for those two guys. Braxton Garrett is he's gonna throw a sim game tomorrow. So maybe he's on the men back. He did have a slight scare earlier in this weekend with Mitch Garver. He missed a couple of games, but he's back in the lineup today, so all good is there. But yeah, it's the Sewald Duran combo was a rough way to start the season.
It's almost unreal.
That's a good way to it's a good way to nuke your bullpen. You draft a couple of really solid closers on some winning teams, and they both go down immediately. To his credit, he also has Kenley Jansen. Picked up a couple of other pieces in the Boston bullpen to shore that thing up. Picked up basically everybody in the Arizona bullpen that could be worth a damn in order to shore that up as well. You got Ginkel, Miguel Castro, and Ryan Thompson. So he's got all 3 of the guys there that could possibly pick up saves. So he's secured it. It's going to get better as the season goes on. I just wonder what Brennan Bernardino is doing still on this team.
Yeah.
I just question that.
Huh.
There's nobody like right away that jumps out at me like, oh, you have to go drop Brennan Bernardino for this guy. But you're stashing him in the NA spot. He might be an SP eligible bullpen guy for Boston, but he's not currently. So
he'll probably ride. He'll go up from AAA to major leagues back and forth. And so I mean, I'm sure he'll be attentive to this, and it won't be a problem. But he'll be a taxi squad guy for sure.
Yeah, that guy was good for you guys last year late in the season, though. He was like starting games, out a couple of innings and stuff.
Right. It's an interesting way to play it because it's like, what is he? Is he actually a starter? Are we gonna pare it down? He's gonna be like a lights out reliever. I don't know, but he did look good in short form for sure. Dude, I didn't realize that he had Ginkel. I mean, he's set. This is an awesome bullpen. I mean, to have Ginkel after Sewald goes down, that's pretty. He's going to be the guy getting the saves, and so And then
he trades for Jax. So
it's dude, this guy has got it going on, man. That's what I'm talking about.
This was our runner-up last year, brother of the champion. The first time ever that two brothers faced off in the championship matchup. We get Josh here going for his third attempt at the playoffs to try to get into the playoffs for the third year in his history here. He's a founding member. Braxton Garrett is an interesting one for me here, mostly because his health is, I think, directly correlated with how well Max Meyer does in Miami. Meyer did pretty well today, as it looks like we might be going to extras in Queens. Yeah, I know. I made the same eye roll. But no, I mean, if he comes along slowly and Max Meyer's doing well, maybe they just keep Braxton Garrett in the minors. I mean, or throw somebody else into the minors rather than send Max Meyer back down. But I think that's one of the kids that we should be eyeing as Braxton Garrett gets a little bit healthier here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we know the Marlins churn out, these young pitchers that have all the talent in the world, but they can't stay on the mound.
Nope. Just ask Sixto Sanchez how he's doing. He was a hype guy in 2021, and now he's a mess. He's a mess. All right, where to next, Jason?
All right, Casas Paragas, Brook Dogs. He also has a few guys here. He got hit late with Jordan Romano, but he also so he drafted Romano in the 4th round. He drafted Eric Swanson in the 16th round as a nice pair. Both of these guys are out. Romano with the elbow and Swanson with a forearm. Looks like they're coming along. Swanson's throwing a bullpen session today. Romano also is throwing a bullpen session tomorrow, it looks like. So those guys could be coming back pretty soon, which would be nice for him. He also has Yuri Perez, who he drafted in the 7th round. Yeah, that's a very Costas draft pick, right? Like a guy who, yes, if he's healthy, he could be great. But like we knew he was already hurt. He's always
that was hurt. That's right. It was like right before the draft, I think.
Yeah, okay. He was, and he's just because I think first it was a blister, wasn't it? It was like a blister. Correct. But then became a shoulder problem.
Let me tell you.
Yeah.
Well, the blister was in his shoulder, apparently.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe he just got blistered. I don't know. And then he also has Josh Lowe with yet another oblique injury. If you don't have an oblique injury, are you even a baseball player? He's also, it's a grade 1 oblique strain, so maybe he comes along pretty quickly, but no real timetable just yet. So he's kind of dealing with, having, MJ Melendez in the lineup every day and Whit Merrifield in the lineup every day.
Yeah, I was just going to say this outfield looks a little weak without him and Christian Yelich. Christian Yelich having an off day today, but Josh Lowe being down. The outfield should be Julio, Josh Lowe, and Christian Yelich, and that sounds pretty good. But when it's only Julio, MJ Melendez, and Whit Merrifield, that doesn't sound good at all. What I want to bring up is Yuri Perez. You're right. That 7-8 turn seems to be the spot where Costas gets bit a lot. Whether it was Akil Baddoo or Jake McCarthy last year, or now Yuri Perez here this year, it seems to be a spot that he just doesn't know where to go and gets the short end of the stick. Cody, you ever run into that where like you get into a draft and at some point you're just like, I don't know what to do here?
Dude, oddly enough, it never happened until this season, and it was in our podcast league, the BTH podcast league, Will and I do every year, and it's just our 2nd year. But and I was drafting near the end. When you're on the end, you kind of throw ADP out the window because you can't depend on that for people to fall back to you. It's really hard to game plan, and it was just like a slog through. You just never felt like you were getting the player you wanted. And funny enough, I drafted Garrett Cole on the turn in the 2nd round. This was way before. Actually, it wasn't way before. It was the day before the next morning the MRI news came out, and I had an opportunity to get Yordan to pair with Fernando Tatis or Garrett Cole, and I have no shares of Garrett Cole, so I was like, I want one, and let's ride with this guy. It's like 200 innings, 220 strikeouts. Let's do it. And so imagine my dismay. And I think Jason, you're beating me in week 1 so far. So I'm coming for you, brother. But I know that has happened. Yeah, and I think if you play this fantasy baseball long enough, I think it'll happen to anybody.
Yeah. And he's carrying 4 injured guys on the team here, which I find really interesting. There's not really one that you can cut. Maybe Eric Swanson is the guy that you're supposed to cut in this scenario, but he went out and got Yimi Garcia to get to shore up that end of the bullpen for now, along with Chad Green. The bullpen looks like a bullpen. It doesn't look great, but it's not, atrocious. Once these guys get healthy, it'll be a little bit better, though. I certainly believe that much.
Well, here's the deal. In this 16-team league and the way we structure bullpen, I think if he drops Swanson, he's going to get picked up and stashed. And so his hands are a little bit tied.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's probably the worst for wear right now with all of these injuries. Hopefully these 2 relievers can come back quickly and make it a little bit easier. Give him some room to breathe a little bit here. Jason, where to next, my friend?
All right, let's go to our good friend Brian Lebo, the Peaky Glassnows. He is fortunate enough to be the only guy, if I'm not mistaken, the only guy. No, Ari is also to have one guy sitting on the IL spot. It's a guy he drafted, of course, because he's a Cardinal fan. It is Tommy Edman, who is on the shelf with a wrist injury. That was well known. But again, he's a good guy to stash because he's eligible in a whole bunch of places. So when he's back, you can plug him around. He's going to play. He's due to get another MRI on Wednesday, I believe, to see how he's healing and when he can start ramping up his baseball activities. But for right now, like his lineup is fine without him. And once he's in there, like you can say to hell with Josh Bell.
Mm-hmm. You can say the hell to Josh Bell. You could probably say goodbye to somebody like. That's probably about it, actually.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah. This is a solid team.
Yeah. What about Chris Bryant? 0 for 10 with 7 Ks to start his 2024 campaign. I mean, what is going on there?
Let's go Rockies.
Let's go Rockies.
That's what I'm talking about. Hey,
did you see Nolan Jones's error today, Jason?
Oh.
I saw he committed one. I didn't actually see it though.
He committed 2 on the same play.
2. Right. Okay, 2.
Yeah.
Oh,
it was a little league home run.
Oh dear.
Mm-hmm. For Christopher Morel, for what that's worth. Yeah. So I know you like that guy. So Christopher Morel got it, but at the haste of Nolan Jones overrunning and Bucknering a ball and then throwing it into the dirt.
Oh boy.
It was bad. But Lebo seems to be in the best place, so good for him. I do love the rotation of Burns, Glasnow, Hunter Green. Like, this is how Hunter Green should be rostered. He should be somebody's number 3 and not anything higher than that because he's got a lot of question marks alongside the high strikeout rate. So we'll see how well he does here. I do like the Helsley and Gallegos combination from the Cardinals as the closers as well.
McKenzie could be looking good as well. Tonight he goes, so let's see on the bounce back.
Okay.
Absolutely. I like this kid.
Going against Seattle.
Yes, sir.
Seattle and all their 6 hitters.
That's right, baby. Yep.
The lineup of 6. As long as we're on Brian's team, does anybody know get the reference on the team name? The Peaky Glassnows?
Okay, so that is, I've never seen the show. My wife loves it. It's called Peaky Blinders. And the main actor looks just like Tyler Glasnow. And I think his name is, it's something Killian or Gillian. He's a really good actor, and I don't watch a lot of movies, but he looks just like him. I have to send you a picture after the show.
Okay. Definitely.
That sounds like a Brian Lebo kind of team name then.
Yeah, they're twins. Yes. Glasnow and this actor look the exact same.
All right, Jason, where are we going from here?
Our final team of the evening, my opponent for week 1, Michael Sherman, who has a couple of guys on the injured list here. DJ LeMahieu, probably one of the bigger ones. He's out with a foot injury for maybe a little while. He's got a fracture in the foot. So they're hoping by end of April, but we'll see. I don't really like him anyway. We know that very well. Colin Holderman is out with an illness. I don't know if it's a virus, so I don't know what I guess it's a bad enough virus, but they're saying he could come back by the weekend or by next week. So hopefully he's back soon. And Nick Lodolo, he's carrying on this roster. He drafted him in the 18th round. He made his first rehab start yesterday. So he's looking like he's going to come back soon. The one to watch, you mentioned his name earlier in the show, is Eloy Jimenez, who also we know is made of blown glass, and he is day to day with an adductor strain. And he's not playing
There
today.
it goes.
They're waiting for MRI results, so we will see.
Yep. That's going to be a month bet.
Yeah.
Bet on it. Eloy will miss a month with this adductor strain and then come back and be bad, lose another 3 weeks to something else.
Now,
It's just this guy cannot stay on the field.
Yeah.
So Sherman got him in the 13th round, which, at least he's not, because there was years when you were drafting him in like, the 5th or 6th or 7th round. So like, I guess it's at least a solace there, because he was tearing it up in the spring.
Absolutely.
So there's value there at 206 overall, but yeah, this is scary.
It's just another season of Eloy Jimenez being Eloy Jimenez and like getting hurt in the weirdest of ways, whether it's trying to rob a home run and tearing his pectoral muscle and missing basically the entire season, or whatever soft tissue leg injury he's going to come up with this week. Here we are with an adductor strain. I'm not surprised in the least. It's unfortunate because he's already got, Lodolo and DJ LeMahieu holding it down. My question though, and this has to do with DJ LeMahieu. I don't know how much you guys have watched the Yankees for the first couple of days here, but they're 4-0 after sweeping the Houston Astros. And a young man by the name of Oswaldo Cabrera has just been absolutely destroying it.
Yeah.
What does this kid have to do to make DJ LeMahieu a bench player? Like how much more does he have to hit before he comes back?
No. He's not going to hit 529 all year. I mean, I can admit that for sure. But guys, if the glove stays there, and we know he's a glove first guy, and he can pick up. I mean, he's been a prospect in their system. They were holding on to him for so long. They could have used him in the Castillo deal and other deals like that, and they hung on to this guy. So, I mean, at some point, it's not good news. I guess life finds a way kind of moment, but I think the DJ thing's going to be a little bit. So they're going to get an opportunity to stick him at the hot corner, and let's see what we get in the Bronx. But yeah, man, they look pretty solid.
Agreed.
Late breaking news here. Man, this is very pertinent to our discussion here. Josh Young was hit by a hit pitch and has a fractured wrist.
Oh no,
that's awful.
Yep.
Didn't he just come back from an injury too? Like he was banged up to begin this thing. Yep. Yeah, he was banged calf, up in the preseason.
Yeah.
The dude went 3 for 4 with a homer, 4 RBIs, a stolen base, and 2 runs scored. Yeah. And then got hit by a pitch and has a fractured wrist.
That sucks. That is awful.
Yeah.
That is awful for them. Who's going to be the new third baseman of the Texas Rangers? I'm sure everybody's asking that question.
Ezekiel Duran.
That's it. Yeah.
Oh, I bet he's already rostered too.
That's
knowing my luck.
Let's see.
Yeah.
I know he's good when he plays. I think he had like 280, 290.
Ezekiel Duran, Jaron Duran, and Yohan Duran.
Duran
all
on
the same team.
Yep.
Yeah.
All 3 of them
are on the same team.
That's awesome.
That is hilarious.
That's pretty good.
All right. So that covers our injured players on everybody's team here. Let's go ahead and real quick run through the divisions because we never really got what we think is going to happen this year. We did do over-unders, and we talked about a little bit where we thought everybody was going to finish. But let's start in the AL East. Cody, who do you have winning the AL East this year, my friend?
Okay, here we go. AL East. I mean, it's a hot take, but the Baltimore Orioles are going to take it. They're going back-to-back.
Yeah, I think so too. I think they're a 100-win team. I think they're really going to take that down. So they're the division winner. Jason, are you with us on this one?
I am. But I will caveat and say that I could see a case where almost any of the other teams could do it too. Like it's such a tough division. But I do think the Orioles are just so well balanced that right now they have to be the pick.
Yeah. I mean, you can make the case that anybody else could win the division, but realistically, like, I don't think the Blue Jays are ever going to win that division with the roster they've constructed as it is right now. I don't think they have enough. And they haven't done anything. It wasn't that long ago we were talking about, oh, yeah, the White Sox and the Blue Jays. Those are two teams that are really going to take off, and we're going to see them in the next 5 years. And the White Sox are garbage, and the Blue Jays are just overhyped. Tampa has taken a step back. They lost Wander Franco, they've lost Josh Lowe so far. They lost like 4/5 of their pitching rotation. I just don't see them being able to compete with the Yankees and the Orioles in this division. It's going to be between those two teams, but I like the Orioles. I do like the Yankees for a wild card, though. Any wild
Absolutely.
cards coming out of this division for you guys?
Well, for me, I like the Yankees coming out. I do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
even with Cole going down, I think they're going to piece it together. They're going to pull all the stops out to make this as magical a year for Juan Soto as they can before he inevitably hits free agency. So, yeah, I think they're going to do everything it takes to get back to October.
I really
Yeah.
think you could see two wild cards coming out of this division because, like,
Possible.
yeah, the rest of the league is just not that great, at least on paper. So, I could see like Yankees and X coming out of the AL East.
Yeah. I've got the division finishing Baltimore, New York, Toronto, Tampa, and then Boston. Sorry,
Yeah.
Cody.
That's
Yeah,
okay. I'm ready for it. It's okay. They're not very good.
All right. All right. All right. Let's move over to the Central. Who do you guys have winning the Central, Jason?
Ugh. Draw a name out of a hat that's not the White Sox. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna have to stick with the Twins. They're not great, but I think they're the most set up for a win of all the rest of the teams. Like the Tigers are up and coming, the Royals are up and coming, the Guardians I don't think are quite there. They always find a way to kind of sneak around, but the Twins right now are just the ones that I think have the most powerful guys to lead them to the division title.
Cody, you feeling the same way? Are you in Minnesota, or has somebody else got your eye?
Nope, 100% for a lot of the reasons that he said. I just think they're the most complete team. I at some point we're going to be wrong and Detroit's going to do their thing, but right now, I mean, Bailey Ober, he will bounce back. I know they call him the nightmare. That was a nightmarish start. But this rotation is deeper than it seems. Yeah, I think the Twins are going to be okay. I mean, losing Royce, though, I mean, definitely opens the door for one of these other guys.
Mm-hmm. I was off of Minnesota before this season started. I wasn't really a fan of anything outside of Pablo on that team. The offense was a bit questionable. Injury risks were always there between Buxton, Kepler, Kirilloff, Royce Lewis. Like everybody on that Correa even has. All of these dudes have health questions. You know what? Give me Detroit to win this division. And it's a really surprising season. These guys are coming, and I like Torkelson to hit 30 bombs. I'd like a nice, doesn't have to be like an MVP style season like we saw out of Javi Baez. But you know what? If he hits 20 bombs and drives in 65 runs at the bottom of that lineup, that's something serviceable and better than he's done in the last couple of years. The rotation is good with Skubal at the top and a lot of young kids behind it. Jack Flaherty and Kenta Maeda as the veteran presences there. The bullpen is a whole bunch of guys I've never heard of, but that doesn't mean that they're not good.
Dude, listen, remember the name, Jason Foley. Okay, that's going to be the guy in Detroit. He is disgusting. I mean, I was watching him. I'm like, is that a manual Class A? He was dotting a hunch, and I feel bad for Alex Lange because I think he might be out of the picture, but Foley, he'll be the ninth inning guy, my opinion.
That hurt. All right, I've got Detroit winning it. You guys have Minnesota. Moving on to the West. This is the most competitive division in the American League. I don't care what AL East people have to say, and I don't care that Oakland's there. I think the top three teams in this division could finish within a game of each other. It's going to be wild. Cody, who do you got winning it?
Dude, until they don't, I'm going to say H-Town, Houston. I mean, I know they started out 0-4. They were in every single one of those baseball games. And that bullpen, they're going to piece it together. They're going to be okay. It's going to be H-Town. I like Texas. Don't get me wrong. My sweet co-host Will, he really thinks that Texas is going to pull it together in the second half. I just don't know how all the injured guys are going to come off the IL. I mean, they could come out and be fine, but setbacks happen all the time, and you're not looking at a guy or any of them really have track records of being healthy. So we'll see, and I don't think Seattle has what it takes offensively.
God, that's literally everything I had to say about this division. That is wonderful. Jason, how do you have to say on this one?
Yeah, I think I have to agree. And the one other thing I'll say about the Rangers, especially the guys coming off the IL, specifically Scherzer and DeGrom, is they're not spring chickens. We're not talking about Walker Buehler coming off the IL. We're not talking about, Jose Urquidy coming. We're talking about guys in their mid-30s, upper 30s. So even if they come back, like it's gonna be hard to expect them to do what we're used to seeing from them. So yeah, I would even almost say like I could see the Mariners jumping them into second place in this division.
That's completely realistic. I also have Houston winning this division, but I do have both Texas and Seattle as wild card teams again this year. My big surprise here is Detroit winning the Central.
Oh,
we'll move. Yeah. We'll move over to the National League East, and who's winning it other than the Braves? Somebody please tell me that the Braves aren't winning again.
I mean, I don't want to say it. Jason, you want to tell me who's winning?
No, I don't. I'll let Frank Bucco say
it.
Frank Bucco, our resident Braves fan, he's going to get another division title under his belt. They're top to bottom one of the best teams in baseball, and it's almost an embarrassment of riches of what they have and the pieces they have still coming through their farm system. They've got pitchers coming for days in this roster. It's amazing. It's amazing. But do you have Philly going to the playoffs too, Cody?
I sure do. Yeah. They gonna rip them again? I mean, what do you guys say?
Man, I do love Philadelphia's lineup. Unfortunately, like I have 3 of them on my Bigs team, so I have to root for them this year.
Yeah.
I'm a little concerned about Aaron Nola.
Dude.
I'm a little concerned about Aaron Nola. Like he had a bad year last year. He's done this undulating thing where he has a bad year and then a really good year and then a bad year and a really good year.
Yeah.
So like if you believe that he's just going to keep doing like this, then you're getting him at the right time.
Correct.
But what if he doesn't anymore?
I do. It's a very real thing, man. I'm going through it. I fell in love with the team build of waiting on pitchers and then grabbing Nola in the 3rd or 4th round. And so a lot of my teams, I mean, we're hurting. And I know what you're thinking. Like, you can't start anybody against the Braves. That's kind of my philosophy this year. It's like Braves, Dodgers, maybe not. But I figured, I mean, I know it's a long week, but trying to manipulate the 42 innings, I'd rather be safe than sorry in week 1. I think that would look pretty silly if the new guy comes in and doesn't hit the limits. I'm like, okay, got to start my ace. I don't want to upset Ben. Okay. I want to be on good terms with Ben. He's a super nice guy. And
that's rule number 1.
Well, that's kind of it. So, I figured, hey, let's hit that 42, but man, he did not look great.
Yeah, no, but I think they're a wild card team. I think the Braves are going to win this division. I think the Mets can somehow come in 3rd. That'd be great, as they now are down 5-0 in the 10th, thanks to a home run by Carson Kelly. Are you kidding me? Carson Kelly just beat us. Screw this.
Thought he was a singer.
Yeah. Ugh, nasty. Everybody's heading for the exits. Great. We're gonna go 0-4 to start the season.
God, the Marlins aren't better than us, are they?
Dude, they were last year.
Like,
they were last year. They made the playoffs last year.
You guys see Tanner Scott? I mean, he looked. What's the opposite of sharp?
Good.
No, he did. He struck out. He struck out the side, but it got a little hairy.
It was a little rusty there, maybe in the early going.
Yeah.
And you know what? Watch out for Washington. They've got a lot of young kids on the way, and that team is going to get really good, really fast all of a sudden.
You just need to get rid of Patrick Corbin.
That's another year. One more. I think it's one more year after this year, and he's done.
Yeah.
So at $35 million a piece. So watch out for Washington in the upcoming years.
Yeah.
We go to the bottom of the 10th, down 5-0. Thank you, Michael Tonkin.
Former Brave. Figures.
Yep. All right, to the NL Central. The
double
Brewers
agent.
won this division last year. Are they going to repeat, Jason Ashby?
No,
No.
I am taking the Cubs here. I like the Cubs this year. I like again, I think they're pretty well balanced. I love Alzolay at the back end of that bullpen. I really hope to give him a good leash. The rotation isn't great, doesn't like run off the page, but like it's good enough. Kyle Hendricks, if he's number 4, like he'll be out there. Like I like their offense. Fred Counsell knows how to win ball games. Like, so I think that's a real wild card there. So yeah, I'm taking the Cubs.
I think it's going to be a really interesting summer between the Cubs and Cardinals. But Cody, what do you have? Who do you have winning this division?
Man, I had Cubs. I have Cubs. The still going down is tricky. I mean, how long is he going to be out? Because everybody moves up a peg, and then it gets a little dicey. It was dicey when he was in there, but Imanaga looked good today, really good.
Yep.
I mean, against a lights out offense in the Rockies. So no, I'm just kidding, but still, man, he was spinning it. So I think he struck out 8, and yeah. So we'll see. Bullpen, I know they got ripped up by Texas, but I think that's just going to happen to teams this year. Yeah, I got the Cubs because I'm not really buying anybody else. I'm worried about the Reds rotation. I think Pittsburgh is fun. I think they're fun, and I think Jerry Jones coming out and absolutely twirling the thing, it bodes well for them. But I think the Cubs might be the champ this year.
Everybody just keeps sleeping on those St. Louis Cardinals, man. That team is put together pretty well. Now, granted, you're going to sit here and tell me that Lance Lynn and Kyle Gibson aren't great pitchers, and you're right. But you're going to tell me that Adam Wainwright was good 2 years ago when they made the playoffs? It's not that far removed from this team being a really good playoff caliber team.
Yeah.
And Sonny Gray, when he gets back, along with what they already have in that rotation, I think they're going to surprise some people. I don't think they're going to win the division. I'm with you guys. I think the Cubs are going to take it down, and that has a lot to do with Craig Counsell being the manager there. But watch the Cardinals try to sneak in a wild card here. Watch them try to get it. I mean, they finished dead last in the division last year. They're not going to do that again this year. There's no way that's going to happen.
You look at talent on paper, it might be if you loaded up what is it, MLB The Show, and you played just in the season, it might be the Cardinals. It might be the Cardinals. But, I mean, this is how close the talent pool is. We're talking about the manager of the Cubs being the difference maker. So who knows? It's going to be tight.
But the Cardinals need to get healthy, though. Like Sonny Gray, Tommy Edman, Lars Nootbaar, Dylan Carlson, like all these guys are out. So I think that's going to be the key. And, better to be hurt now than in August, I guess. But they need to get those guys back and get rolling because, I mean, I know Victor Scott can steal a base in his sleep, but, like, it seems like he may just be like a, Billy Hamilton guy, like, or Terrence Gore, guy who's going to come out and steal a bunch of bases, but that's about it. So, yeah, but, I mean, like, on paper, they're pretty much the same ish team that they were last year, like so I don't know. It'll be curious to see how they finish.
SDR Ruiz is another guy who fits that bill like Billy Hamilton.
Yes.
He just got sent down to the minors, by the way.
Yes, he did.
No shot. Did he really?
Yeah. Yep.
He really they sent the A's sent that guy to the minors.
It's like getting sent back to college or high school.
Right?
I mean,
right?
You
it's like getting sent to double A from a regular team. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Is Dylan Carlson a real dude? Is he like going to do anything of substance in the majors, or is he just a quad A guy like Lance Nix?
Dude, well, he can take a hit, man. Did you see him? They clashed in the outfield, and his knee. I hope he's okay. Yeah, I don't know. Didn't he look good? I think it was 22. He was like the smart pickup off of waivers to start the year, and he's never recaptured that. I feel like so. We'll see.
And he's just another one of those Cardinals outfielders like Jeremy Hazelbaker or Randall Grichuk fits this mold very well. That they play well for a little while in the Cardinals. They end up finding Stephen Piscotty is another great example of this.
Yeah.
They find their way to another roster, and they're just not as good or just flat out bad.
Yeah. Yeah, it may be, but he's not due to be their starting center fielder anyway. He'll just be a depth piece. But
Okay.
that's still
Because that's more where I
is
see him
better than
fitting in.
whatever a Michael Ciani is. Like,
Sure.
you
Sure. That
know,
guy's just a replacement level guy, right? But do we know that Dylan Carlson's better than this guy? Probably not. We don't know what Michael Ciani is.
true.
All right, moving to the West, I assume we all have the Dodgers winning this.
Hands
I think
down.
that's a pretty safe bet.
Yeah, my question to you guys is who's finishing second?
Man, not the Rockies.
Not the Rockies. The Rockies are, in fact, going
that.
to finish
All right,
last.
we got the bread of this division. Let's work through it. I have the Diamondbacks in second wild card spot. I love the moves they made, even with Erod going down, to keep the foot on the accelerator and go out and sign Montgomery.
Yeah.
I think, and then when Seawald gets back, I think that bullpen's going to be pretty nice. I don't know. What do you guys got?
Let's talk about San Francisco for a second. All the additions they made. They added Matt Chapman. They added Blake Snell. They added Jung-Hoo Lee. They added Robbie Ray is going to be on that team in the second half when he comes back from injury. Jorge Soler is another great addition to that team. I don't think he's going to hit 40 homers because that ballpark isn't built for that. But if he hits 30, that's a hell of a lot better than anything they were getting out of Mike Yastrzemski. I've got the Giants finishing second in the wild card team.
I will just say, I know it's only one outing, but Camilo Doval got rocked the other day. So I'm a little worried about the Giants. I've never been big on them. Yes, they made some good additions. I think I still on paper anyway, I think I still like the Padres better, but I'm with you guys. Arizona's finishing second in this division for sure.
All right. Arizona for you guys. I've got the Giants finishing second. I got Arizona finishing third, and the Padres are going to disappoint yet again because they also have done absolutely nothing.
Yeah. I think the middle of this division could hinge on two arms, and that is Blake Snell and Dylan Cease. If Blake Snell takes a step back, that's going to be bad for the Giants. If Dylan Cease can kind of split the difference of what he's been the last 2 years, I think that could really lengthen that San Diego rotation. So we'll see. It's going to be tight.
Yeah. What's your World Series matchup, Jason?
I mean, it's tough because the two best teams in baseball are in the same league, right? So who's better, the Braves or the Dodgers? Like who wins out there? So I'll tell you what, I'm gonna go completely fuck everybody and let's go Cubs and the Orioles.
Cubs and Orioles. I'll go ahead and say Braves and Orioles for a nice Midwest Southeast type matchup. Cody, I'm sure you and your family would be loving that one from North Carolina, Tennessee, all that area.
Oh man, listen, that'd be all right. I don't know how MLB would feel, but yeah, dude. Hey, we got the same matchup, man. How many games?
6, and I think the Orioles win it.
Oh, different winners. Yeah. I got the Braves in 4, man. I think it's their time.
Ooh, Braves sweeping the World Series. Now I'll take the Orioles to win this thing and break their sort of mini curse here. It's been since the mid '80s since they won. So go Orioles. They made the move for Corbin Burns. They've got all these young kids, and Jackson Holiday's on the way. We're going to see him rather shortly. Yeah. Oh, look, the Mets lost again. How wonderful. 5-0. They got 4 hits and 5 runs. We got 5 hits and no runs.
Listen
That's
here,
how
Mets.
we do.
Listen here, Mets. Joe will shave his beard if you win a baseball game. Okay, I
actually am gonna be shaving for a wedding here at the end of the month, so that's gonna be really interesting.
They'll probably win one by the end of the month, dude. You're all good.
I hope they win one before the end of the month.
Oh my
guys, this has been great. Thank you both so much for being here. Cody, thanks so much for appearing first time, and I hope it's not the last time.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. This has been a lot of fun. So I just appreciate it. Thank you guys Jason for inviting me into the league. And yeah, it's going to be a fun year, guys.
Great having you here, my friend. Jason, we did it again, man. Another great show under our belt. Thanks so much for doing all this research.
Yeah, absolutely. And guys, the next episode is going to be the week 1 recap. How exciting is that?
Yeah. We get to recap week 1 next Monday, guys. That is going to be awesome. And I am going to be in New York City going to see the Yankees play the Marlins in a random fucking game, but I'm going with Jay Ferraro, who has season tickets. So I'm super excited for that. Super
Nice.
excited for this season to start. Got a lot of things on tap, but be sure to check back next week for the weekly review. Thank you guys all for listening and for watching. Until next time, guys. It's been real. It's been fun. And it is always real fun in the bigs. We'll see you guys next time.